Can I talk really quickly about what I'm feeling is the hero's journey of entrepreneurship, of finding your life's purpose, and of making money doing your life's purpose? I think it's just the hardest freaking thing to do. And I think that it's really something that not everybody pursues and not everybody thinks they should or can pursue, but it is something that I personally have to pursue. I cannot sit at a desk and be the person who is doing something that I hate. I can sit at a desk and do something that I love, but it's very difficult for me to find what that exactly would be. And I just want to talk about it. I just want to talk about like how freaking hard it is to be on this journey of trying to match my life's purpose with my income and trying to match my passions with what you, my readers, need. It's a very, very challenging. And I think that one of the lines that people have said to me as I've been on this journey is, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And I believe that. I believe that if it was easy, everybody would do it because we're all looking for the most optimal way to live our lives. And I feel like I'm on a journey of sacrifice. I feel like I'm on a journey of loss where I do not have the money to spend on things that bring me pleasure. I can't go to Lady Gaga. I want to go to Lady Gaga. It's not even a question. It's not even that it's too expensive. It's if it was $50, it would be too expensive. I want to go to O'Mary, but I can't because it'll be $200 or $300, and I don't have even $20 to spend on O'Mary. I think that that's something that I haven't made clear here on the internet, and I think that I'm having fun in my life and I'm very happy right now in my life. But when it comes to success, the whole idea here is that I'm here and I want to be here. So all this stuff needs to happen in between in order for me to be killing it. And I think that it's interesting to think about because, of course, it's the journey and not the destination. But if the destination is me sustaining my life, passions, and my things that I like to do, success to me does feel like the destination in a weird way. And the destination can be part of the journey. Maybe the success is a checkpoint in the journey. But I don't, if I'm trying to get to 100 and I'm at 20, it's hard to feel that I'm successful. It's hard to feel that I beat the level in the game, but I am on my way to beating the level in the game, if that makes sense. And so it's really interesting because people have been coming up to me and being like, oh my God, you're killing it. Or they'll say something like, oh my God, the photo booth, like it looks like it's doing so well. And it's interesting. It is interesting. And maybe you can comment on how you define success in that way. Is success the slope or is it the y-intercept? Do you know what I mean? Like, is success that you are succeeding and you're on your way to succeeding? Or is success that you have made it and that you have achieved what you set out to achieve? I don't really know. And it's something that I'm exploring for myself, and it's something that I'm having a lot of conversations about. I recently had a conversation with a friend, and they said that they're just on the struggle bus. And I was like, me too, like, absolutely, as many of us millennials are. And I said, what's contributing the most to your struggle bus? Like, what is it? And they said, it's really just what I thought my life would be at this point and what it is actually. The reality versus the expectations. And in that was that split screen in 300 Days of Summer that I've always just remembered, the expectations versus reality, and what you thought was going to happen and what did happen. And I have had so many conversations with my friends over the last 3 years, whether it's on Life in Bold, whether it's at lunch, whether it's over the phone or via text. I would say if you feel that way, you are truly one of a million people who feel that way. And it's not to make you feel less special, it's not to make you feel less unique, but it is just such a common thing for the friends that I'm having conversations with that you said, I really thought I would be here and I'm actually here. And I would challenge everybody to really sit in that. Don't just be upset about it, but really journal about it and really think about it and really be somebody who has the ability to just anchor in it and to just be like, wow, that really sucks. And why does it suck? Why am I upset about it? And why does it bother me so much? Because if you are somewhere, but you want to be somewhere else, it's interesting to me. Listen, it's interesting to me because, in a weird way, feels weird for me to say, but like, why did you think you knew where you would go? You know what I mean? Like, what did you think you had the power to see the future, to know where you would go? I think to me, that's been something that has released a little bit of that feeling for me is like, well, I thought I would be here and now I'm here. Well, did I think I was psychic? Did I think I had the power to make my life exactly what I thought my life was going to be? And then, that's just a thought. That's just a thought to think about, to journal about. Maybe you are disappointed that you didn't predict the future, or that you didn't work hard enough, or that you didn't get the right opportunity to get where you wanted to be. But I will tell you, everybody feels that way. And just like everybody thinks they were going to be somewhere else, even probably Taylor Swift, even probably Beyonce. I bet they look at their number one album of the year, this, that, and they go, I really wish I had 10 of those. You know what I mean? I just think it's worth exploring and not just saying that it's awful and not just not complaining in a way that I'm blaming you for complaining, but like not just talking about it, like what's the gap between where you want to go and where you are right now? And this sounds so cliche and so elementary, but like what would need to happen to get where you need to go? Like if you're a basketball coach, a high school basketball coach and a history teacher, if that's your life and you hate it and you don't want to be that, and you want to be an author and speaker and podcaster and whatever, like I would really think about what needs to happen between those 2 points, because that's a pretty distant relationship. High school basketball coach and podcaster, if you really wanted to be that, like I think that you have to be able to take that line and put in the middle what needs to happen for you to get there. And to be truthful, it probably does require that you get a social media following. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people are feeling is so impossible right now, especially because social media has changed so much where people aren't even following the same way. So you really have to make like content that hits most of the time, that gets out to the For You page or to the Reels page or whatever. And it's a really interesting thing. And that is a caveat, the social media thing. But like back to the kind of goal setting version of all of this, the bold goal setting version of all of this, it really is about that gap. And it's really about all the things that need to happen. And the second thing I would say is it's not going to be clear, and it's not going to be clean, and it's not going to be easy. To get from, I'm just going to keep with this basketball coach example because I think it's a good one. To get from basketball coach, small town basketball coach, to get to Gary Vee, Mel Robbins, Brene Brown, what's his name, Joe Rogan, whatever. Like, it's a really big gap. Sit with that. Sit with the fact that it's a really, really big gap, because it is. And you can't, this is where it gets hard, is that if you want to be somebody who has a successful podcast, and I'll just talk a little bit about podcasting. They say that if you have 1,000 listeners, loyal listeners, you can make a living off of a podcast because you can sell ads, you can have partnerships, all of that. 1,000 listeners. Think about what it takes for you to become a loyal listener to a podcast. Like, that's a big commitment to be listening to a weekly podcast. Everybody has a podcast, sure. That means the competition is high, but everybody has an Instagram, and I follow people's Instagrams every day. So it's just kind of an interesting thing. I think we have to get real with ourselves, you guys. I think we have to get real with how big the gap is between where we are and where we want to go, because it's just a big gap, and there's no 6-month program that's going to get you where you want to go. And I also think in this world of being millennials, we have to carve our own paths. Yeah, you can get a job every 3 years and work your way up and kind of become a VP of marketing, and that's great. If that's what you want, that's great. If it's not what you want, it sucks. And I think it's important for us to course correct right now where we want to go, because it's just shitty if we are somewhere here and we want to be here and we're not on our way. I think that's, to me, where success comes in. and this idea of the y-intercept versus the slope. Am I successful because I'm on my way to making it? Or am I successful because I've made it? You know, like, I think that it's interesting to think about. I think that to me is interesting to think about, especially as millennials, especially as people in our 30s, where it's just not so simple to say, these are the 5 things I'm going to do to get where I want to go. Do you know what I mean? It's not as simple as saying, oh, these are my SMART goals. This is my vision. This is my manifestation. Like, it's just not that simple. And I know that manifestation, goal setting, these things are not simple, but I think that we were sold an idea that if we sit down for 2 hours and make a plan and then do the plan, that we will be rewarded with the success that we've written down that we will get. And I don't think that that's necessarily untrue, but I do think there are confounding factors. I think there are things that happen to us, for us, about us, against us, that fight us being able to get to where we want to go. And that's where it becomes kind of the hero's journey of it all. Like, that to me is where, we can't just control our outcome. That kind of takes me back to, like, did you think you were going to be able to control the outcome? Because in this world, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that no, you can't control the outcome. You can work as hard as you want. You can be the best of the best and still not make it where you want to go. Is that depressing? Yes. Is it true? Yes. And so I think, even if you think about the music industry, aren't there so many amazing, amazing bands, amazing singers who just don't get the opportunities that some others do? Because guess what? Maybe they're not beautiful. Maybe they're not tall. Maybe they are gay, or maybe they have some kind of thing that people don't like sometimes. And I think it's interesting because as kids, we are very messaged that we can find a niche, we can find something we're good at, find a knack, and end up pursuing it in college, and then going and getting a job and working our way up and becoming a huge, amazing professional. I think about, like, Ted Mosby in How I Met Your Mother. That was a show that we would have consumed where all of them had jobs that they were good at, that they liked, that matched with their characters. Or they didn't, and it was a point of contention in the show, and they wanted to, go and pursue that thing, and then they did, and they could, and they can get another job. Even the show Friends, Ross is doing something he loves, Monica doing something she loves, Rachel doing something she loves. And it's just interesting because I think that even in movies, Devil Wears Prada, 13 going on 30, we saw people live and have the dream job that they wanted when they were 13. My dream job when I was 13 was musician. Am I a professional musician at Bonnaroo? No. Am I getting a Grammy? No. But it wasn't until I started to face who I was and where I wanted to go that I was even pursuing music. Do you know what I mean? And musical comedy and comedian stuff. And that's where I just would love for someone to walk away from this video feeling like they had an opportunity to sit with the fact that where they are versus where they want to be is just far apart. It's just too far apart. And we can't live that way for the next 50 years. We just can't live that way the next 50 years. And it feels like I'm, like, calling on millennials to just, like, take power and take the narrative of where we want to go and turn that into action. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't feel right to me to have a generation of people who are stagnant in a place that they don't want to be for the rest of their lives. And I really hate the idea of us as millennials not taking control and not taking center stage with being the leaders and the rulers of this country and of this world. I feel that what is being taken away from us is our agency. We are in our 30s, when we'll be in our 40s and our 50s. I don't want us to be a forgotten generation where we were ruled by boomers and then Gen Z takes over. Because we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of skill, we have a lot of passion, and we have a lot of know-how on how to rule the world and how to be the people who have the right priorities. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's billionaire millennials, but, like, I think as a whole, we are good and we are better than what is happening right now politically and with companies. I think that we can all agree and collectively agree that the only reason to start a company is to make money. I don't think that we're delusional that way, that we think that a job should be able to provide us all the joy from our lives. And I think that the people who start a family and get married and go on vacations and do this and then have a job to support all of that, they have it right. You know, they have a good mindset about that. I think I was somebody who felt that I could go and build a career that would make me happy via a 9 to 5 job, and that turned out to not be true for me. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be an entrepreneur or everybody needs to start their own business or everybody needs to be a coach or a consultant or a solopreneur. But I am saying that I would really like for us to not follow a path that is not fulfilling to us. Like, where do you want to be? Sit with that, write it down, and allow yourself to just be the person who doesn't pretend that things are okay when they're not. If you want to be somewhere in your life and you aren't there, that is something that sucks. That is something that is hard to admit to yourself. And it's just like everything else. Admitting it is the first step to getting to where you want to go. And so I just want us to all be on the pursuit, you know? And there's a quote by Sean Aker that says, happiness is the joy we feel striving for our potential. The word, I'll say it again, happiness is the joy we feel striving for our potential. And to me, the word in there is striving. Are we taking action? Are we moving? Are we failing? Are we failing and learning? Are we iterating? Are we able to take where we are and where we want to go and strive for the potential? I really like the quote, happiness is the joy we feel striving for our potential, because if we want to achieve happiness, it really is about the striving. You know what I mean? It's about taking point A and point B and saying, I'm actually going to go on the journey. I'm actually going to take the steps to get where I want to go. And maybe I get there and maybe I don't. And maybe I find the success and maybe I don't. Again, like, who am I to understand that I will get somewhere or I won't? But I do think it's worth trying. And I think it's worth exploring. And I don't think you have to be safe in order to do it. I don't think there's ever a perfect time to do it. I don't think there's ever a time you'll be ready and comfortable to do it. And the big lesson that I've learned in my own journey with this truly is that I've been able to learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that to me is really important. That to me, being comfortable, being uncomfortable has been the greatest gift that I have received by going on this journey of pursuing entrepreneurship, of pursuing where I want to go, of pursuing where I want to be. It has been so uncomfortable. It has been so not luxe and so not bougie that I have had to get comfortable not being comfortable. And to me, it's almost like that's the crux of it. It's almost like, what are the lessons you can learn along the way of pursuing the life you want to live? And there's another quote, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've imagined. And that was my senior quote. I think I was like literally looking up quotes in my senior year of high school, looking for one that would make sense for my life's mission at 18, 17 years old. And I just genuinely liked that quote. I thought it was a really good sentiment, and it was something that I would feel that I would say. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've imagined. But one thing that I think it takes out is that there's a lot of struggle. If I think about each word in that sentence, live the life you've imagined, you know, you can't just live it, but can you? Maybe you can. You can't just do it, but maybe you can. Do you know what I mean? You can't just be it, but maybe you can just be it. Meaning, the word live, the word do, the word be might be action words and not words that represent the end of the destination. I just want you to know what you want to achieve, while you may or may not achieve the specific exact thing you write down that you want to achieve, the fight to achieve it is worth it. And the fight to be on your way is worth it. And whether or not you win in the end, if you can fight to make it happen, and if you tried to make it happen versus sitting in where you are and hating it, if I had the option between choice A and choice B, I will 125% choose the option where I fight to get what I want every single time. And I think that is the difference between someone who is living life and someone who is living life in bold. And that is the difference between somebody who is kind of sitting stagnantly in their life and hating it and somebody who is going after the life that they've imagined. The difference is that one person is not taking action and the other person is taking action. One person is on their way and one person is not. One person is sitting there hating everything, complaining, and talking about what they don't want and what they do want, and the other person is taking the steps it takes to get there. And so when I think about steps also, I think it's more than, oh, well, first I need to post more on social media and I need to write more and I need to do this and I need to do that. Maybe the first step is therapy. Maybe the first step is some kind of life coaching session or some kind of session with a friend where you talk about it and tell them what you're looking to achieve. And maybe the first step isn't like, all right, I'm going to set a SMART goal. And the SMART goal is to do this, 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 and this 3 times a week until I achieve this, this, and this. I want to say about goals, and this is where I'm thinking of putting together like a goal setting event or workshop or something of the sort where people can really get real with what does it mean to set goals. Because all of my friends tell me, oh my God, you're somebody who totally goes after your goals. But I'm not necessarily always clear on what are those goals necessarily. And I think that might be a little bit of a difference between me and somebody else, is that I am living in the middle, in the gray area, and I'm working every day to make something happen, but I don't necessarily have an exact outcome that I'm hoping to achieve. Of course, I want a certain level of financial income and revenue, and I want to do that via my passions. But at the same time, I'm not saying I want 5 Grammys or I want to have 3 homes in this place, and this place. I think that's the kind of thing where when it comes to goal setting and you think about the future, we're encouraged to think specific, but I wonder what would happen if we think more generally. Like, what's the feeling you would have when you achieve your goals? And how do you feel when you achieve your goals? Like, what is your life like when you achieve your goals? You could say, yeah, I want to have a house in LA, New York, and Spain. Why? Why do you want a house in New York, LA, and Spain? Is that because you've been told that that's cool? Or is that because you have family in Spain and you have family in California, but you want to live in New York? And you want to own homes so that you can be fulfilled by being around all of your people throughout the year. Then your goal is to be fulfilled because you're around your favorite people. Do you know what I mean? I think that's really what's important and what's missing from goal setting conversations. It's not the goal itself, it's the why. If you want to win 5 Grammys, why is that? Why do you want to win 5 Grammys? And why is it 5 and why is it Grammys? And why is it win? Because if you really want to be a touring musician, that's really the goal. You want to make your money doing your music. I think a lot of times the accolades or the checkpoints or the places we want to get are influenced by social media and influenced by pressure from our parents, influenced by so much external stuff that we don't think about the why, and we just don't think about like, what the fuck is that goal for? If you want to lose, let's say, I hate talking about goal setting in terms of weight loss, but it's a good example. Say you want to lose 10 pounds. Really, 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 what is the reason for that? Get deep with that. Because I think a lot of times when we want to set goals, we set goals because we've been told they are good goals to set, and we set goals because we believe that we will be happy when we achieve that goal. Reverse it. What does it actually look like for you to be happy? That's what I would really like for people to write down and think about, because it's not 5 Grammys. There are people with 5 Grammys who literally hate themselves so much. And there are people with 5 Grammys who the Grammy is not the most important thing to them, but they are happy because they have a family and they get to cook for their family every day. And that person might be just as happy if they got to cook for their family every day and they didn't have the 5 Grammys. But maybe the 5 Grammys means that they got to afford a really nice house, that they can have a kitchen island, and they never got to grow up with a kitchen island, and now they have a kitchen island, and when they look at the kitchen island, they feel happy. That kind of thing is more important than the accolades and the job title and the salary. That kind of thing is more important than getting to where you want to go, because then people will think you're cool and maybe you'll find love because you'll finally have figured life out. I think those are the questions we need to ask ourselves, and I think those are the things we need to start allowing ourselves to sit in the fact that it sucks. So to my friend who shared with me very vulnerably and very honestly that they are not where they want to be in life, I want to say 3 things. Number 1, I really see you because I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I don't feel that I am where I want to be in life, but I also feel that I am on my way to where I want to be in life, and that is in a way enough. I think there's a difference between being unsatisfied with where you want to be and then also being clear on where you want to go and being in that middle piece, in that gray area, fighting the fight. Number 2, I would say really think about where you thought you would be and why you thought you would be there. And like, is it a career thing? Is it a family thing? Is it a love thing? Is it something that has to do with your own relationship to yourself? Or does it have to do with something external? Where you thought you would be, especially if influenced by your family, is a really tough place to start thinking. It's a really tough place to start exploring. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just really hard to think about where you want to be versus where you are right now, because it requires a lot of mental health exploration. So I would encourage you to explore that. I would encourage you to really think about what are those motivations, and why do you want to be where you want to be? And are you clear on where you want to be? It's just hard. It's just hard. And I think the climb to get to where you want to be is hard. And that's why they call it a climb and not a flat ground. You know, it's uphill. And it's up and it's down, but like, it's uphill. And going uphill, as we all know, is hard. That's the thing I think that people don't realize about The Climb, especially like the song by Miley Cyrus. The climb is not a walk. It's not a walk in the park. She didn't call the song a walk in the park. She called the song The Climb because you're literally climbing. And if you think about it even as like rock climbing, you know, why do people go rock climbing? Because they enjoy the act of climbing the wall. They enjoy the fact that they get exercise, that it gets their heart rate up, that as they're going, people are cheering them on. They don't go rock climbing to ring the bell. You know, they don't go rock climbing to be done rock climbing. You know, it's kind of like, even like if you're watching a movie, you don't, I watched Freakier Friday yesterday and I enjoyed it so much. And when it ended, I was so sad because I just enjoyed the movie. But you don't go to the movies to have seen the movie. You go to the movie to experience the movie. And so I think when we talk about the journey being the destination, or the journey being more important than the destination, that to me is where it feels like we're missing a little bit about that conversation. And then the third thing that I would say, and this is something that's very difficult, but I would say really we need to have compassion for this journey we're on and this struggle that almost all of us have. I really don't know a friend of mine who feels that they are where they want to be in their life. I really don't know a friend of mine who believes that everything they planned for themselves has come true. And the friends that I have that have great jobs and great salaries, 2 things have happened with those friends. The first thing is that they work so much and their life is so dedicated to their job that they are miserable in some way or another. And the second thing that has happened to my friends who have great salaries and who have had great jobs is that they can't be there for other parts of their lives that they want. And family members have health issues, and there's funerals and weddings and celebrations and birthday trips and bachelorettes and all of that. And they're sitting there at a bachelorette party working because their job is so important and they just must get something out to a client. And that's great if that makes you happy, but I just don't think it does. And so I think when it comes to career stuff, we have to understand that maybe people who have a less pressure job might be in the better place, because they can take a little time off, or they can allow themselves to be with their family at night, or they can allow themselves to have a really meaningful relationship with their spouse or their partner or whoever. And then I think when it comes to the compassion, really allowing ourselves to understand that a lot of stuff is just not within our control. And a lot of stuff happens to us, about us, for us, against us, that we can't handle and that we can't control. And I think as I think about my friends who are not in a place where they want to be, almost all of it is out of our control. Almost all of it is not because we were lazy or entitled or because we thought we would be able to get there without working hard. Almost everybody works hard that I know. I'm not really friends with people that aren't ambitious. And people have gone to school, they've gotten degrees and certifications, and they've done this and they've done that. And they really have worked very, very hard to get to where they want to go. I think the truth is that we need to have compassion for ourselves for the fact that this world kind of sucks. The world kind of is a place where you can do everything right and not get the outcome that you wanted to get. There's a level of freedom in that, in knowing that it's not your fault. Maybe it's your fault, but it's probably not. Maybe it's because you're lazy, but it's probably not. Everybody that I know works very, very hard to get to where they want to go. And I think that is the freedom, to say, okay, I worked really hard. I am doing everything I can. And that is enough. That allows me to release myself of guilt and to release myself of the fear that someone might know that I didn't work hard enough, or that I can't do something that I wanted to be able to do. I think for myself, I think a lot about my own body image and my own ability to love myself. And I was talking to my friend Stephanie yesterday about self-love. And this idea of self-love, how we're expected to love ourselves. And the phrase kind of, well, would you say that to your best friend? I'm looking in the mirror and I'm thinking, oh my God, I look so this, or I feel so that. And I would never, ever, ever say that to my best friend. I would never say something like what I say to myself to my best friend. And it's funny because I realized, I've never seen my best friend naked. I haven't ever walked in my best friend's shoes for a full day. And I'm sure that there are things that my best friend knows about herself that I don't know about her. And I'm sure there are things that my best friend doesn't want me to know about her. And so it's kind of funny because I know everything there is to know about me, and I know all the dirt. I know all the stuff that would make me critical of myself. I think when it comes to self-love, we can't see ourselves the same way we see someone like our best friend. I think when it comes to self-love, we have to have compassion. We are the only person who has seen everything there is to see about us individually. Our best friend loves us because our best friend knows the version of ourselves that we present to them and that we share with them and that we allow them in for. I struggle to believe I could possibly love myself or admire myself more than I could love and admire my best friend. I think that because I know all of my deepest, darkest secrets, and because I have seen my bank account, and because I have seen how I did in college, I have been the only one in my one-on-ones with my manager. I see my best friend for the best of what she is, and I see myself for, at minimum, the neutral of what I am. There are things I absolutely love about myself, but there are things I know about myself that make me feel insecure and fearful about who I am and where I am, my ability to get where I want to go. I'll tell you, I put out on social media a lot of content of my wins. And I try to be really honest about what I'm sacrificing and how hard it is to do what I'm doing. But if I had a message for people that come up to me and say, oh my God, it looks like you're killing it. Oh my God, like your photo booth is doing so well. Like, oh my God, like I see you're doing the creative services. Oh, you worked with this company, you worked with that company. Yeah, those are my wins. But there's not enough wins for me to feel like I'm truly successful and that I'm truly doing what I want to do. And, the other thing about it is like you think that because you saw something cool and you want to compliment me, and that's great. I am living in the suck of my own success. I am living in the gray area that we've been talking about, and I know the struggle. I know my own struggle more than anybody. And in fact, I would say nobody even knows half my struggle. So we have to have empathy for ourselves, and we have to have the awareness that we're the only one who knows it. And it kind of comes to like faking it till you make it also. Like no one knows your struggle, and in a way that's beautiful, in a way that is empowering. Like I can kind of move on with my life knowing that I don't owe anybody my struggle. And I don't owe anybody an explanation around how successful I am or how successful I'm not. So getting to a place where it's me and I am the one I'm living for and I'm the one who needs to be satisfied is a great, great, great freedom. It's a great freedom because it allows me to live for me and not for anybody else in the whole wide world. It's not my parents, even though that's hard. It's not my future husband, even though that would be hard. It's not for my best friends. It's not for my acquaintances. And it's definitely not for my haters. Because one thing that I've learned is that if I'm worried about someone talking shit, A, it doesn't matter if they're talking shit because I'm on my way to doing what I want to do. And maybe they're not. And B, if I'm worried they're talking shit, they are probably already talking shit about me. And they can do that. That's great. That's wonderful for them. But I'm going to keep doing me. I'm going to keep living for me. And I'm going to be on the pursuit of the life that I've imagined for myself. I think I'll end there. I hope this was helpful for you in some way or another. This is the kind of content that I really enjoy making, and I really want to allow myself to do it more. So if you have feedback on how you felt this conversation, this pep talk was, I hope you will share with me what you thought of this episode and all of that. With that, I want to say I love you. I want to say I see you and I believe in you. And I want to say that I hope you have a great day, an even better week. And don't forget to live your life in bold. Bye.